Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming to Friday's Heroes. We also, as usual, will have an Employee of the Week that we celebrate today, and a Volunteer of the Month as well. So this is a great opportunity for us to celebrate the men and women of the Albuquerque Police and Fire Departments, the great men and women that go out every day and serve our community. And then also, we've started the new program where we recognize volunteers, because we know that volunteerism really is one of the glues that keeps the community together. And today is no exception. A great turnout today. We're so happy to see all the families that are here. Everybody that came out to celebrate with your loved ones as we celebrate them as well. So let's start today with Friday's Heroes. And today's Friday's Heroes is actually a combined Albuquerque Police Department, Albuquerque Fire Department celebration. We're honoring AFD firefighters and APD open space officers who worked together to rescue an injured man in Albuquerque's foothills. And actually our citizen is here. I'll introduce him in just a minute. Through AFD and APD's joint effort, the hiker was able to seek medical attention and make it off the mountain shortly after experiencing a debilitating injury. The officers and firefighters responsible for the rescue include APD Officer Anthony Martinez, who's with us today, Officer Andres Montoya, and Officer Gary Okino. AFD personnel who are with us today are Lieutenant Christopher Romero, driver Colby Buffington, firefighter Brian Padilla, firefighter John Vigil, paramedic driver Gregory, I'm going to say Ochoa. Did you get it?
Yep. You did.
Cool. And paramedic driver Mark Hawkes. The gentleman who was rescued is Guy Miller, and Guy is here with us today. We appreciate you coming down and helping us celebrate. You look like a hiker. You got your hiking gear on and ready. It looks like you're ready to go again. It's interesting because Mr. Miller lives near the foothills, and he's a regular in the open space area, hiking nearly every day, which is great. And if you're not a member of the Step It Up program, we want to get you signed up, because we'll get you involved in that as well. But last October, a guy was hiking his usual route when he heard something pop in his leg and he was unable to move. He called 911 and did his best to provide the dispatcher accurate directions to his location. Open space officers were the first to make contact with him on a steep, rocky hill. It was getting colder, so they provided Guy with blankets so he could stay warm while they waited for emergency responders. Once AFD arrived, both the firefighters and the open space officers were able to safely assist him off the mountain and transport him to a nearby hospital. Another great example, obviously, of how our professionals are out there every day keeping folks safe. And we've had more than one story of people in our community that have been out hiking or doing something that you would think, well, the Albuquerque police, are just out there doing their day-to-day work, or the Albuquerque Fire Department is just, doing medical calls and putting out fires. But these open space calls are more frequent than you might think. So it's just good to know that we have folks out there protecting individuals in our city that are enjoying our great natural resources. I mean, we live in a beautiful place. We live in a place of mountains and rivers and open spaces, and the city has spent a lot of time over the decades making sure that this is a great place to be an outdoors person. But with that comes risk, and so it's nice to know for all of us that when we're out there and enjoying our beautiful scenery and the wonderful creation that we live in, that we have folks out there to protect us. I'm going to bring Mac Page up to say a few words, if you would, and then I'm going to have Chief Dave Downey say a few words, and then we've got our Friday's Heroes coins here as well. So, oops, let me grab that one. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. What's very interesting about this is that the firefighters and our officers are up here. We've had 2 rescues this week alone. On Sunday, we had somebody up on the Lalouse Trail, and then we had somebody that needed our attention up on the trail. So, and I was just talking to the officers, 3 Heroes coins, 4 and 5. So they'll be back up here probably in another month or so. But I want to thank the firefighters and our officers. We have a great partnership, and I've been here almost 24 years with AFD, and I know it will continue. And I just want to thank all of you for what you did to help this gentleman here. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Downey, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. To reiterate what Chief Page said, I want to congratulate everybody on the great partnership and teamwork we have between APD and AFD. And as the Chief indicated, it's starting to warm up. People are going to get out on the trails a bit more often. So if I can, I'd like to just give some people a couple of tips about safety in the open space, because these calls are going to start to be more and more likely to occur. want to make sure everybody has a plan and somebody knows that you're going out hiking. If you can, always go with somebody and let them know when you expect to be back. We ask people that they know their limits. Sometimes you get out on the trails and want to go a little bit further than perhaps you should, so make sure you know your limits. And things like the proper clothing, flashlight, phone, food and water, those sorts of things really, really help. It's amazing how often we'll ping somebody's phone to find their exact location and make the rescue effort go a lot faster. And I can't go without reminding everybody that we're changing our clocks tomorrow night, so that means change the batteries in your smoke detector. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. Always the fire chief. Appreciate that. And it's great to see the two departments together. We have a really great friendly rivalry because we've got public safety professionals at AFD and APD, and we just ran a relay race against each other over at the track a couple of weeks ago. Fire win that one?
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, that's right. PD won that one, right? Yeah, PD won that one.
Sure.
Exactly. But I heard you look great in those running shorts, though. I heard you were out there. But when it comes down to the serious business of public safety, these two departments they never miss a beat, and we're just really proud of them, and we're awfully honored to be able to give you the Friday's Heroes coins. We have one for the police department and one for the fire department that we've specially crafted for these occasions, so that we can at least send these professionals away with a small token of our appreciation. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Give me enough, Chief?
Yes, sir.
We got two more here. Guys, thanks so much. Let's give these guys another round of applause. Let's have a good Well, let's move on to Employee of the Week. Today we're honoring two City of Albuquerque Transit employees that were quick to assist a woman and her infant after a car accident. SunVan chauffeur Sam Ortiz and dispatcher Mike Huckins were instrumental in keeping the woman and her baby safe following the crash that left them in a very vulnerable and precarious situation. One cold morning in late December, Sam was on his way to an appointment to pick up a rider when he witnessed a frightening car accident. A small car was approaching the intersection on a green light when a large SUV suddenly entered the intersection against the red light. To avoid a collision, the smaller vehicle swerved and hit the curb and a street sign. The SUV quickly sped off. Sam called dispatcher Mike Huckins, who immediately contacted the Albuquerque Police and Fire Departments to request assistance. Sam then approached the wrecked vehicle to check on the condition of the occupants. Inside, he found a woman and her baby, and both were scared and badly shaken up by the accident. Sam then detected the smell of gasoline and recognized that he needed to move quickly to get the mother and the child away from the wreckage, so he helped them out of the vehicle. It was very cold outside, so he ensured that they had a warm place inside of his SunVan to wait for paramedics to arrive. And there they remained safe and warm until emergency crews arrived on the scene. Rescue personnel assessed the situation and transported the woman to the hospital, while Mike arranged to get Sam back on his route because he had other SunVan customers that were waiting. While others kept going, Sam put aside his own daily routine in order to help the young woman and her baby through a very scary and a very potentially dangerous situation. So I'm going to have Bruce Rosieri come up and talk about these guys a little bit, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the SunVan services when Bruce is done with his talk.
Right, thank you. I just want to reiterate what the mayor said. These are two examples of City of Albuquerque employees, Transit Department employees, going the extra step to take care of a situation which is obviously unexpectedly occurred. They did the right thing. They followed up. Thanks again to APD and AFD for being involved. Just another example of city departments and employees working with each other on their own. No direction from the directors or the chief to do this. They're trained, they're sensitive, and they know they're here to provide service, and they did their job. So thanks.
Bruce, stay here just a minute because I want to talk about SunVan just for a minute. SunVan services, for those who aren't aware, they're the vans that you'll see around town. They're white vans. They're about what, 10 passenger vehicles maybe at the
Up to
most?
10, two wheelchairs.
Yeah, kind of a cab situation on a van chassis, and they're used to help individuals in our community that need special transportation help. Whether it's someone who's a senior that needs help getting to the doctor, or someone who's got a disability that needs help getting around town. The SunVan service is really one of the more robust services in the country of its kind, in my opinion. And how many rides, Rick? Do we know how many rides we had on SunVan last year?
About roughly 250,000 boardings last year.
So 250,000 times last year, somebody called for a SunVan and get where they needed to go. In an instance like this, where you took your time off of a normalized route to do something above and beyond the call of duty, that's why we have these. And I want your grandkids to hear about this too, because this is why we celebrate today, because people go above and beyond the call of duty. That's what we're here to celebrate. So as you grow up and as you get older, you know, people will be looking at you and saying, well, gosh, you know, you're doing your job, and that's great, and it's a very viable job that we're doing. But those times where you step out of that normal routine and go above and beyond, that's what makes it special, and that's why we're celebrating your grandpa today. So with that, what we have is we've got 2 certificates. I'll get them right here. So I've got one for. Get these straight here. So Sam's is here. What we have is an employee. Oops, I'm sorry. We have an employee. I'm struggling with these today. We have an Employee of the Week certificate that we have, as well as a letter for your personnel file, and we have one for each of the gentlemen. We also give out. We had these specially made coffee mugs for Employees of the Week. So you can get yourself going in the morning with your coffee. But guys, listen, just many thanks for the really important service in the work that ABQ Ride does. We have a great transit department here, and I know if you heard the news yesterday, we made the next logical step on our way to bus rapid transit in Albuquerque. Another important service, but millions of people each year rely on public transportation. Bruce and your team do a wonderful job, and congratulations to you for going above and beyond the call of duty. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for joining us today. Well, you know, we love to celebrate our volunteers in Albuquerque, and if you ever get a chance to come to the senior appreciation breakfast that Georgia puts on through Senior Affairs, it's absolutely amazing. We celebrate hundreds of thousands of hours and millions of dollars worth of volunteerism in our community each and every year. We also have a National Day of Recognition coming up soon for volunteerism across the United States, where mayors will be celebrating volunteers. But we wanted to start something along with Friday's Heroes and Employee of the Week to celebrate folks like Ron Mansoldo, who is here with us today. If you go to Bear Canyon, and Bear Canyon, by the way, just went under a really nice renovation. It's one of our great senior centers in Albuquerque. You're going to see Ron there. And the first time I went up, well, actually, I don't know if we met before or after I think it was right after I got elected. I went up to Bear Canyon, and Ron grabbed me by the arm, and he said, "I want to show you some of the great things that are happening up here." And he was touting all of the other volunteers, but today we're going to tout Ron. We're honoring him as a seasoned Albuquerque volunteer who's dedicated the last 12 years of his life to service to others. Retired Senior Volunteer Program RSVP volunteer Ron Mansoldo is this month's Volunteer of the Month. RSVP is a program of the National Senior Service Corps, a division of the Corporation for National Service. It is sponsored locally by the City of Albuquerque Department of Senior Affairs. RSVP is America's largest volunteer network for people 55 and over. You got 4 years to get into the category, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's been, so I'll see you in 4 years on that. It is approximately 500,000 volunteers across the country, 864 of which are right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about Ron. With a compelling drive to give back to his community, he started his journey with RSVP back in 2002. In that time, he has contributed an impressive 9,131 volunteer hours of service.
I can't even count that high. Thank you. Thank you.
It's probably not including the hour you're here.
That's probably so. Do I get paid for this one too, or
No.
what?
As a member of the Friends of Bear Canyon Senior Center, Ron helps to raise funds to buy furnishings, tables, pool tables, and blinds for the center in order to ensure the facility always shines. Ron's primary volunteer assignment is as a driver for Bear Canyon, Palo Duro, and North Domingo Baca Senior Centers, another really important program that we have in the city of Albuquerque to get our seniors around town. He makes sure that the van he uses is washed, fueled up, properly maintained for use on future trips. And he's been working particularly hard in recent months, and in February alone logged over 500 miles driving for the program. Recently, Ron has taken it upon himself to organize trips to Roadrunner Food Bank with other RSVP members. This past November, Ron arranged to have 11 volunteers work at the food bank. And the volunteers donated 73 pounds of canned goods and packaged 610 pounds, 2-pound bags of pinto beans to use for food boxes for those in need. The very next month, Ron gathered 15 volunteers to donate 63 pounds of canned goods and sorted 2,394 pounds of fresh produce to provide a more well-rounded, balanced meal for those who are served by the food bank. Those two initial success trips have now evolved into a monthly outing led by Ron, scheduled for the third week of each month. I'm sure if you want to get involved, you could call Bear Canyon and they'll get you set up with Ron. Ron's caring and generous spirit and his willingness to give of his time to make Albuquerque an even better place to live for our seniors, as well as in our entire community, make him this month's Volunteer of the Month. And I want to have Georgia come up and say a few words about Ron, and then we'll have a little certificate for Ron as well.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. This is just a real honor and Mayor, I have to give you credit for really honoring the volunteers. Ever since you came on board, this has been one of your major appreciations for all the volunteers in the city of Albuquerque and the Department of Senior Affairs. As you can see, I'm standing here with lots of people that are volunteers, and Ron has gathered them together. They're fans and volunteers with him. But Ron just isn't an ordinary volunteer. He's exceptional. He's entertaining. He's an educator. He really researches all the trips that he takes. I have to highlight the trips because Ron is just known for that and how he prepares for those trips. And one of the things I was told just recently is that he's so popular too because he makes sure at the end of every trip there is a moment to stop for ice cream. And so I think that makes it very pleasant. I can't tell you how important volunteers are to the department and to the whole city of Albuquerque. Without them, we are not as powerful. So we thank you, Ron, for your effort and your energy to the department and all the friends that you brought with you today. And thank you for all your effort.
Thank you very much.
And I want to thank, take a minute just to thank Georgia and her wonderful staff too, because if you go to any of the senior centers in Albuquerque, you'll find out very quickly why Albuquerque is seen nationally as really one of the great places to be a senior. My mom and dad just moved to town, and they're very excited about getting involved because they see the potential in other people that come to town also. Right. So we have those who've lived here for many, many years. We've had those who lived here for just a few weeks or a few months. And without exception, as a mayor, I hear how open and welcoming the centers are, how wonderful the staff are, and how great the centers are maintained. And it's interesting as a mayor, when you go to a senior center or a multi-generational center and you talk to folks who are passionate about what they do, they are not short on ideas. I mean, the first conversation I had with Ron was really about making it an even better place. And so we need that kind of activism in the senior community, and we have it with our volunteers and with our leadership within the department. So Ron, what we have for you today is we have a Volunteer of the Month award that we will present to you with just a big thanks for being passionate about what you're doing and really contributing to the well-being of our citizens here, the quality of life, and just making this another reason that Albuquerque is one of the great American cities. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Without these guys, without my recycled teenagers here, as I call them, and they really like to stop for ice cream. And once in a while, off the record, we stop for wine. If we're up in Ponderosa, they have wine tasting. But of course, the driver doesn't partake, But without these folks, I'd have no job. I wouldn't be getting a certificate. So really, thank you very much for you folks that come out and support me, ride with me, work at Roadrunner Food Bank with Robert, which he sets that up. And I got a great manager, Cassandra, and Kathy Black used to be a manager up there at Bear Canyon. I appreciate you, all you guys. And, if I didn't appreciate you folks, I wouldn't stay there. And I really like it up there. Thank you.
All right, thank you.